Okay, so I'm quite excited because Bitcoin finally filled a value gap that I've been talking about for a while now. And on top of that, I'm also hedging. So I'm going to show you guys some updates on the current trades and what I'm looking at going forward. And then after that, we'll talk about Mara stock like we always do. So right now, right, we were always still within a downtrend in this corrective move ever since Bitcoin topped out at 124.5k basically. Now, before, right? So before we started this correction, before I actually introduced you guys, in case you're new to the IBIT trade in a short I opened up today at a really good time to just hedge. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. But ever since we topped out and we started going down lower, I highlighted uh, multiple value areas to keep an eye on, right? So it's just represented through value gaps, right? Any potential imbalance within the chart. The first one was filled. The second one down here was filled, right? Before we started going up higher. And now the final one, or at least the final one that's significant enough for me to actually pay attention to as well, is this one right here that was never filled until today. So here's the IBIT position. That's the current value. I added another 10,000 today because I did tell you guys it's currently an overall 60k invested, and I did tell you guys that if we break below 112k, I would like to add more to that IBIT's position as the foundation for an overall swing trade, with the idea that we'll soon enough go higher. We're just still within the accumulation area, and that's why I'm treating it that way. It's an accumulation area, so I'm slowly adding more as long as the chart proves that not just that we're still in a bull market, but that the overall macro is still anticipating some rate cuts, right? So now here is the short. So I opened this short right here. So I put $10,000 into SBIT. I'm gonna actually clean the charts up a little bit. So we were trading. It was like shortly before the market closed. We were within this area, and what I always do, and I've talked about this, and I showed a good example on how I do this in a previous video. But I was just keeping this lower high, smaller picture swing. I was just keeping an eye on it with a simple retracement. I always just draw these real quick to get an idea of the health of the structure and then where the RSI is at and where volume is at as well. So we were within this area. We broke over it, but then the next candle was failing. It was failing to go over the wick. And then we had another one. And this is all like now we're like within the last hour of the U.S. market today. So then this next one was failing. It was failing to go. Volume wasn't there. The RSI was it was struggling. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and open a $10,000 short with SBIT because, and it's currently up a little bit. But the idea is that I'm not trying to profit off of this. The whole reason to hedge with this SBIT position is purely to just soften any potential more downside, right? So I opened it up perfectly before it all dropped, and then shortly after, like within 5 minutes of me opening it, it started dropping. So the idea there is to just cushion the IBIT position a little bit, and then start selling out of SBIT. Either two ways. If we break over this swing high, then I will sell out of SBIT. It did its job. Its job is basically insurance for the trade. It's just to soften it up a little bit. Um, and that's the whole purpose, right? In case we see lower prices, which as of right now, I mean, we're still in a downtrend, even though we filled this value gap. As you can see, the overlapping support extension, keeping an eye on it, right? We started pushing up higher, but we didn't really, dip into it too much. Usually I like to see these areas filled quite a bit. We ended up going up into short-term resistance. I've talked about this in yesterday's video in more detail. And then from there, we come down, break support, enough momentum to push the price lower, deeper within this area. We could still go all the way down to, potentially 107K. If we break below 107K, then we just enter short-term deep value, which at this point, I'm going to be real aggressive with adding into IBIT. Right now, there's only 60K invested. But if we reach within this area, I'm probably going to put a lot more into it. Like, I'll probably put another I'll probably bring it up to like 80 or even 100k into IBIT if we enter this area. But as of right now, the idea is stays the same from previous videos. The idea is to still keep an eye on short-term health structures. We couldn't really hold over short-term resistance, which is good because this allowed the value gap to be filled. We still have a little bit more downside, but we're going to keep an eye on it and see how this progresses throughout the rest of this week. We still have 4 more, U.S. trading days uh, where volume should pick up and we can see this unfold a bit more. We're well underneath the 120 moving average. So at this point, since we reached resistance and we made a lower low, I will have a new simple short term. So it's not super significant, but short term resistance. As long as we're within the red, I would like to accumulate. We haven't reached the bottom of it, and we haven't reached the bottom of um, the overlapping support area. So it can still go down a bit lower. So that's why I opened up that hedge with SBIT just to soften it up a little bit. If we go below 109, especially like if we break 108, then I will sell out of SBIT and start transferring that money into IBIT. Once we have bullish confirmation, which at this point, bullish confirmation is the same as always been, but we're a bit deeper. It's simple, right? Where we go up into short-term resistance and we follow it up with another fib retracement. The idea is that we can see either the price break over short-term resistance, and that's very bullish. At least for me, it shows that there's a big shift in volume, and we can go much higher. Uh, you know, crushing through these fib tools. The idea there is that we can bottom at any point. We can start going up. We can bottom at any point. We might have bottom, but it doesn't matter. We're still in a downtrend, so that's why I'm looking for confirmation. The second way of getting bullish confirmation, besides breaking over the last fib, and then breaking over the swing high, would just simply be we go up into short-term resistance, start weakening, the price comes down, and it holds with it. So we just let's just say it keeps going up from here. We hit that value gap. It's very good. We hit the value gap and the price didn't keep dropping, right? So there's definitely some short-term bullishness right here. But if the price goes up into this area and has weakness, I will follow it up with another retracement. The idea is that it will go up, find weakness, come down, hold within support, and then make a new swing high from the short-term resistance right there, right? Wherever it tops out at. So that's just an estimate at the moment. If the price continues to come down, then SBIT will do its job. It will do its job, and then I can transfer that over into IBIT. And then from there, we're looking at already we're in really, really good attractive prices. Like I really like Bitcoin right now, anywhere below 120k, right? And this is looking real good, right? So yeah, I added more to IBIT because we were, we were getting ready to come down. There was a lot of weakness in the short term. I knew that we could potentially hit this value gap after market close. So I added another 10k. I like the value. It's as simple as that. I like the price right now. And I will continue to add to IBITs as long as we come deeper, and especially into this deep value area starting at 107k and below. I will aggressively add to IBIT. Once we have bullish confirmation, I will back it up with some BitU. But just like that, right? This is why it's so important, at least why I focus on these value areas so much. Because if you guys remember, I even made a video on it. I closed out. I had a leveraged long, some leveraged longs with BitU, and we were trading within support. It's holding. We're failing to make break over previous swing highs, but I kept saying during that time, and there's videos on it, any moment the price breaks below the 0.618 at 116.7k, then it's very, very, very high probability that if we break below that line, then we can fill the gap fairly quickly and trade within the overlapping support area right here in red. In orange. That's exactly what we did, right? So if the value is invalidated for support, and the next major one, it's at 112k, then I have no reason to hold on to leveraged longs when the difference in the spot price is like 4%. I have no reason to hold that. So we're good, right? And now we're accumulating with a good foundation on IBIT. Continue to accumulate. That's why I call these red areas accumulation areas, right? It's a form of risk management, and now I'm hedging in case we do try to fill it a bit more. It's as simple as that. That's just what I'm doing, right? I mean, everything I say in this video, and of course, everything I've said and will say is simple, right? It's just showing you what I'm doing, because I like to share it with you guys, and you should always do your own due diligence, because maybe you see something that I don't, or something that I say doesn't make any sense, right? That's the whole purpose of you doing your own due diligence, and I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm doing. So in yesterday's video too, I kept saying, I keep reminding everyone. I've been saying this for a while, since the price started getting these wider moves. I kept saying that as long as we're not just within this accumulation area in red, we're still trading sideways within this sideways channel, which actually for the most part perfectly aligns with the 0.5 retracement at $15.68. And I kept saying, every time we break over, it's a good idea to keep an eye on it and potentially start looking at puts or shorting this any way you want. The moment we start, hitting that resistance, it can weaken and come down. And if you guys did, I've been saying, I mean, even when we were back here and we were below support and we were trading here, I kept saying like, hey, we can continue to trade sideways up and down within this sideways channel. And it's just super simple trade opportunities. It's just as simple as that, right? And for those of you that bought in, every time I kept saying, every time we're on each side, then you made profit, and hopefully you weren't greedy and you sold. And then I kept saying that if we go up from where we were down here, we go up into resistance. Maybe it's a good idea to start looking at shorts, and that's exactly what happened. Super quick, and we hit support. Perfect TP opportunity, right? And now it's the same idea, right? Now we're holding above support, right? That's the trigger to take profit. We're holding above support, and the RSI has not bottomed out yet. And now perfectly, like there's super obvious signs, right? It's simple. After hours, Bitcoin dipped. So with that being said, as long as we stay in these discounted levels below 111.4K, as long as we stay within discount, into tomorrow, I would not be surprised if Mara stock dips down a bit more, right? Post market is not down much, but it can dip down more. And then at that point, the moment we break below the blue line, which is support, then it's a good idea to start looking at some calls, or potentially, just long on the equity itself, on the stock itself. It's as simple as that, right? So the idea here is to continue to take advantage of this sideways channel until we have a sustained break of structure to either direction. Now, I gave you guys in previous videos estimates that if we have a bearish break of structure and we break below this swing low where the uptrend would then be invalidated. I said I gave you guys an estimate of how low the price could potentially go, but once it actually does happen, I will. I mean, I can do it right now actually, and I would just update it, if I need to, right? So the idea here is that I'm gonna be a bit aggressive with it, because it's better to, be on the more extreme side, not conservative, because any weakness in Bitcoin can easily amplify in MAR. Now these aren't completely correlated, but like especially real weakness breaking below like 100K is it's very clear, right? So as of right now, what I mean by that is if the price breaks below support, which invalidates the uptrend, then at that point, if we have a potential extension support all the way down here below $10, well, the idea is that we can easily, this gap can be filled very, very easily, which is why setting SLs to trigger automatically is so important, And it's the same as this. We broke support, which is right here. This invalidates the short-term uptrend. And then look at that. Very quickly, we filled the entire gap all the way down to support, and that can easily happen with Mara as well. Now, like I'm not saying this is gonna happen. At least not yet. I don't have evidence for that. We haven't broken. This is the invalidation point down here at 14 or $13.45 basically. What I mean to say, or at least right now, what I'm focused on is as long as we're holding support, it's simple, right? All these support areas like this one and this one are simple. They are fib retracements, factoring in an entire move. This one is factoring in the whole move for potential support to continue an uptrend, right? Because if we are in an uptrend until it's invalidated, well, it makes sense to assume that the uptrend will continue until it gives us a reason not to. And I already told you guys exactly what that reason is. Now we're within this accumulation area. And the idea is that if the uptrend continues, if we don't break below this invalidation line, which would then open up a very wide gap on the stock. I mean, from here, like if we break below this and the uptrend is invalidated, like we can easily see like 30% downside filled very quickly on Mara. So why would you want to hold that, right? Make sure you have your SLs based on your own risk tolerance and all that. And as long as we're within the accumulation area, make sure your position size is not over leveraged. Like make sure you are, just managing your risk properly. But as long as we're holding this area, the idea is for the price to eventually break $20 sometime in the future. We've seen a setup like this in 2024 and it lasted a few months. So just remember we can be in here for a while. We have short-term resistance around 18, and then overall TP is $20. Now we can easily go up into this value gap. These tend to be filled, and that can be an early way to get out if you're not feeling too confident for over 20. But until we have that move higher, right? Instead of just waiting, the idea is to take advantage of current trade opportunities, right? So that's why we have this sideways channel here, where we're now that the price has now widened and it's not as narrow, we can easily hit these support and resistances back and forth constantly for a while. So again, simple. The view is still the same until we have a break of structure, a sustained break of structure into either direction. The idea is to continue to trade with the opportunities that are being presented to us. So, and I'm going to say this again tomorrow. I'm going to keep repeating the same thing. We hit resistance. So just like if you guys were buying down here and you sold up here based on this simple support and resistance structure, the idea is that you had an opportunity to sell. It's very important to not be greedy because look, we went into TP for shorts and it quickly recovered back up, right? See, this is why you can't be greedy with such a volatile stock. So now the idea is we're going to keep an eye on it. If we come back below this, then there could be another long opportunity, with TP being around that resistance line. And the moment we are above that resistance line, same thing. It's looking for shorts, opportunity to short, with the support being your take profit. So it's simple. We're just going to keep focusing on this sideways channel because the setups, like we've had multiple really good trades within this area, so there's no reason to fight it. Like if these support and resistances are holding really well, let's keep taking advantage of it. At least in my opinion, that's the way to go, until we have a sustained break of structure into either direction. I'm just repeating myself at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll keep you guys updated on the you guys will know if we break over the swing high right here, chances are I closed out the SBIT position. It did its job, which is to cushion IBIT in case the price comes down lower. We have short-term resistance right here, and then for micro, this from the moment we broke down. Oh, wrong one. My bad. Here we go. So from the moment we broke down, we have this area to keep an eye on. So this is like micro resistance, and then this is a simple short-term resistance for this move. We can even you can even like draw a trend line where most of the trading has been. Um, we were over it. We were trying to hold it as support, and then we just broke below it. So this micro resistance can be very strong right now. And we also have Nvidia earnings that are coming out in like 2 days. So if 2 days is enough time to keep this going down, I mean that's the whole reason of the hedge, right? So yeah, we have micro resistance, short term resistance. We're still in a downtrend, so very important areas to keep an eye on. 110.6 to 111.6, and then 112.165 to 114.3. So this is what I'm keeping an eye on. If we go up and extend this area, I mean, I'll close out the S-bit right here, and I may be interested in opening up S-bit again if volume is weak around that 114.3K. Because at that point, we're still in a downtrend, right? But I don't want S-bit because it is leveraged. Even though it's only 10K, it's not much invested into it. I have a plan to sell, and I have a plan to get back into it. It's as simple as that, right? And I'm gonna keep taking these risk management trades until we have a sustained break of structure upwards, which then I'll back up IBIT with BitU. But if we do come down lower, yeah, I'll be adding more to IBIT. You can bet on that. Yeah. So I'll catch you guys on the next video, and yeah, take care.